Okay, sophomores. When I met with you last time, we talked about how to think beyond what's written on your assignment. So you weren't going to go search for the character, the suspect in the assassination of Philip II. You were going to do research about Philip II and learn about what your character represented, and then go and investigate about the potential relationship or the impact that Philip II would have had on your character. This is a very similar assignment. But when you submitted your bibliographies last time, I found that most of your sources really didn't qualify as meaningful resources. They were really just kind of reference materials. So I want to spend some time talking about that. So if you guys Google, let's say Napoleon, here are the top 8 results, right? And here's where they come from. So Wikipedia, Ohio State University, Duxter's down there, Life Science History Channel, biography.com, History Extra, HistoryNet. Are they good or bad? Well, it depends. If you're up here in this wonder phase of the research process, they're probably okay. But it also varies because if you look at the word count from those resources, you can see that Wikipedia has the highest word count, Ohio State has the smallest. But you have to be careful with Wikipedia. If you look at the view history, you can go through basically the record of edits to that Wikipedia page. And I found this literally a long time ago, obviously 6 years ago, but I still love it. So there was this edit where somebody had inserted that Napoleon had a bad reaction to his wife's affair. But then, right, so here's the full quote. I found that particularly interesting, but absent from the article, so I added it in. Well, the next person who comes in says, wait, that user has a track record for hoaxes and disruptive editing, so I'm removing this as dubious. So you have to be careful with Wikipedia. Even though it has the highest word count, that doesn't make it the most reputable source. Why is it okay to use reference resources when you're just getting started? Well, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to capture keywords and get big concepts. Wikipedia is really useful because it hyperlinks all of the things that you might not understand. So you can kind of do this sort of like little investigation where you click on it and you go learn more and you go learn more. But this is what you should be doing in the reference phase of your research process. You're writing down keywords. It doesn't matter if you don't even know what they are. Make make lists of words. Dates are important. All this stuff is going to help you find more information and dig deeper. Those are the ahas that are going to get you to like the gems, the real gems in your research process. So let's move on from here. Okay, so the thing is, you cannot use reference sources when you get to these later stages of research. Period. None of those resources, none of those top 8 resources from Google should end up in your bibliography. That's just fact gathering. That's just the beginning. Once you start doing some serious investigation and synthesis of your research, that's where you're going to get rid of all the common knowledge. So if your information is appearing in resource after resource after resource after resource, you really shouldn't be including those resources in your bibliography. So do not include reference works, overviews, encyclopedias, student work, lesson plans, timelines, profiles. None of that stuff should be in your bibliography. None of it. What you should do instead is include unique facts, anecdotes, opinions, original ideas, perspectives, and new angles. You can get that from newspapers, from books, from magazines, and of course from academic journals, which are considerably and admittedly harder to read, but they are worth the time. So, how do you get there? All right, first, just put a period in that search box on the homepage of the library and click the search button, because really what I want you to do is get to the next landing page. And for starters, we're going to go to History and Context, World History. So, once you're looking at that landing page, move your eyes to the right, go to the alphabetical list, and scroll down till you get to History and Context, World History. Once you get there, sign in with Google. So where it says sign in with Google, click on that and it will go through the sign in process with your Google name, and then it will say hello to your name. Once you start searching, you'll realize that autocomplete is your friend. This is a really useful tool. So once you start typing the word, it will give you a whole bunch of options. Choose the one that makes the most sense. It saves you from having spelling mistakes. Your landing page will feature a menu, mostly at the top of the page. Sometimes it moves it down, depending on how the page is laid out. That's really useful. At the top of that page is going to be reference. And we already talked about reference. You can filter your results to eliminate that. You can go straight to newspaper selections, and you can look for harder materials, easier materials. You can look at subjects. You can look at different document types, etc. Basically, this is the full page for Napoleon. So you see you have obviously we talked about reference already, so I didn't put that in here. But biographies, primary sources, images, videos, audios, magazines, news, academic journals. So that's a pretty comprehensive list, and you can navigate through that page or go straight to the ones that you want. What I love about this is that they basically sort of work for the whole research process. So when you look at that menu, that actually aligns with all of the phases of the first part of the circle of the research model. So we start with reference, we talked about that, but then you can kind of dig a little deeper into biography, magazine, newspapers, academic journals, and then as you're getting to the bottom, you're looking at primary sources, and then you can even analyze cartoons or charts or some kind of material that's really going to be a visual material. That's really helpful. I love Gale in Context because it syncs with Google Drive. And here's how this works. So let's say I wanted this particular article that I've highlighted here in red. At the top of the page, I click on it. I have a lot of functionality. I have the cite button, which will bring up the actual citation. It can translate. It can change the font size. It can read the article to you. You can download the article, but smack dab in the middle, the thing that I like best is that little Google Drive button, because once you click on that, it's literally going to shove that whole article into your Google Drive. Once you go into your Google Drive, you'll see an orange folder that says Gale in Context. Once you click on that, it will open the folder, and the folder will reveal the document. When you open the document, it will be a PDF. So if you want it to become a Google Doc, you have to click Open with Google Docs and turn it into a Google document. At the very bottom of your document, you will see that you have the source citation, and it will give you a full reference in your actual document. So that's Gale in Context. But I do want to talk a little bit about the EBSCO search function. So if you go back to the homepage of the library and you enter a new search, and we're going to search legitimately. So you can put a period in, I don't care. But basically, so long as you get to the next page, you can start your search there, or you can create a search here. So here's the sample search that we did. You'll notice that Napoleonic Code is in quotation marks, Civil Code is in quotation marks, Code Civil are in quotation marks, and they're all surrounded by parentheses. Those parentheses are important. Basically, it's the order of operations. It's keeping all those ors contained to just the words that it's combining. The quotes are important because it's keeping Napoleonic next to code in that order, civil next to code in that order, or code civil in that order. So now we've also added the word woman, the word Napoleon. We've put Napoleon in the title because we really want the article to be about Napoleon. And we've removed the option of a book or a review at the bottom. Again, we're using the parentheses for order of operations to make sure that the or applies only to book or review. All right. Once you have an article, don't click on the title of the article. Instead, what you want to do is click on where it says PDF full text or HTML, depending on the article. These are the articles that I found that were really helpful for trying to get at what it might be like to be a woman under Napoleon Bonaparte. So I'm approaching this. I'm not necessarily researching a French woman. I just kind of want to know what his policies were about women. And so these 5 articles were really helpful for that. And so some are longer, some are shorter. And I was okay with most of this, but I really went back because I really didn't feel that I discovered a meaty academic article. I wanted something that was really substantive. So I went back to my search and I was able to find just this tiny little book review. It's really just a blurb. But in that book review, it mentioned two famous critics of Napoleon on issues that involved women, on issues of feminism. So by having those two names, remember back when we were talking Wikipedia, I said, oh, these are, once in a while you'll find the gem that really gives you the aha that helps you find the perfect article. So those two names led me back to the search, and then I was able to find this huge 27-page article that had so much content that really helped me better understand what it might be like to be a woman under Napoleonic law. So here are my notes. So I basically, now what I've done with these 5 articles is I've got some notes that I took and literally I copied and pasted, but then I start to color code it. Wait, well, the yellow is about men's rights. The green is about women's absence of rights. So here we have some green. Wait, but there's this whole other thing that sort of excuses Napoleon for the kinds of behavior that he had, or said that this is his personal slant on it, that he might have created policy that doesn't reflect his personal behavior, and so the pink is the personal behavior. This one was 1,448 words, so I wasn't going to go highlight the whole article, but I could have carried out this exercise with this large document. But this was that big academic article that I really was looking for and I hadn't found until I had those keywords. Here's some more. The green is basically what was going on with women, the yellow is what was going on with men, and the pink is the personal story. This is clearly an article that really highlights some of the lack of civil liberties that women had. And so when I'm done with this note-taking experience, I have a really strong list of some what it might have been like to be a woman under Napoleonic law. So we can start to see some patterns. And so then your next step is to go to what I call an empathy map, and this is really a common empathy map. How would my character feel? And then you can start say, okay, what would you think and feel? What would you say and do? What would you see? What would you hear? What would be your challenges? What would be your successes? So that's how you can start to feel. Now you are really well prepared to go into this trial and be an expert witness or participant.